how to know where fish are sitting in moving water. What's up guys, my name is Will Allen. I'm the owner of First Light Fishing Company. In this video, I'll be discussing 5 key points on how to read the water to know where these steelhead and salmon might be sitting. Alright, the first point, arguably the most important point on this list, is the foam is home. This saying has been around for a long time, the foam is home. And this basically means all those foam lines, all those bubble trails in the water is where fish will tend to sit. Where the bubbles get pushed is also where the food will get pushed. Steelhead and salmon lake run fishing scenarios, that's where the salmon eggs will tend to get pushed as well. If the bubbles on the top get pushed to a certain spot, oftentimes the current below will match that and push the food right underneath those bubble trails. For a lot of the spots, where fish could be spread out over a 40-foot span, if there's a bubble trail, that's where I would be casting. Of course, fish can really be sitting anywhere they want, but the foam is home. The foam is where the majority of these fish will be congregating. The second point on today's list is the time of year / water temp. Fish will sit in different areas at different times of the year. For example, in the fall time, when the water is still in the 60s, the steelhead will oftentimes go to the fastest water they can find. Steelhead and salmon both. This is because the faster the water, the more oxygen content is in that water, and the faster the water is moving, the colder it feels. When the water is still relatively warm for a steelhead or salmon's liking, it will go to the fastest, most oxygen-rich water it can find, which is oftentimes the rapids, the white water, and just the fast-moving water in general. But flip that, in the winter, they're gonna go to the deepest, slowest water they can find. The deepest water is oftentimes the warmest water, and the less water that is hitting them, the warmer it feels. I'm not sure if many of you guys have experience with this, but I used to do ice baths every single morning. I'd get in the ice bath, I'd leave it outside, I'd break the ice, and I'd notice the less I moved, the warmer I would feel. And this is because when you sit in the cold water, your body heats up the thin layer of water that is around you. So if you sit there and just don't move, it will eventually feel a little bit warmer than when you first got in. But the second you start moving around, your body is hitting new water that has not been affected by your body heat, and it feels just as cold as when you first got in that tank. The same idea applies to the steelhead. If it was in a rapid in the winter, it would never feel warm. It would always feel cold because it's new water hitting it fast all the time, constantly. Whereas in a nice, deep, slow hole, the fish can kind of tuck right tight to the bottom and not a whole lot of new water is hitting it, so it will ultimately feel warmer. Point 3 is current seams. Now, most of these fish, they're very strong. They can glide through the water with ease, but their number one goal is survival. And the less energy they can expel, the higher their chances of survival. So once you take the warm water, rapid, oxygen-rich water, high water temp out of the picture, these fish will hold on medium-paced holes and seams. For example, if you have a fast water channel coming down and it is real slow on the edges, why would the fish choose to expel more energy and sit in that fast seam when it could be on the slow seam? And some guys would say, well, it's because of food, and that can be true. The fish can be sitting right in that fastest water at really any time of the year. It's always possible. What I found is if you run your drift right where the fast meets the slow water, a couple things can happen. One, if the fish is sitting in the fast water, it can come over and smack it. If it's sitting in the slow water, it can come over and smack it. Oftentimes, that's where the foam lines are as well, right where the fast meets the slow. So that's where the food will get pushed, and that's where a lot of fish will be sitting. Current seams where fast water meets slow water is a great spot for these salmon and steelhead to reside. Point 4 would be current breaks. And this can be a tree in the water, this can be a boulder underneath the water. Anything that can slow the water down, fish will hold around or behind that object. Current break, the tree or rock is slowing down the water. So the water behind it will be much slower. Therefore, they can hold their position with less energy expelled and up their chances of survival. So casting behind rocks, casting behind trees can be a great spot to find these salmon and steelhead just waiting for your piece of food to drift by. Also, just a side note to the current breaks, the rocks and trees also act as a form of structure. These fish, again, they have survival in mind. If they're in clear water, slow water, shallow water, birds can see them, predators can see them. If they are in water where stuff can see them, they are at a higher chance of getting eaten. And with survival in mind, they don't want that to happen. Their goal is to survive. These fish could sit behind trees, to the side of trees, or in front of rocks, to the side of rocks. They kind of hold all around the rock. Whether they're using it as a current break or not, they still reside by it because it's a form of structure and therefore protection. In addition to this, when the fish feels safe, he is much more likely to bite. If the fish is always on edge, if it's scared, if it's running for its life, it's not going to take a minute to eat. But if it's next to a rock or next to a tree, a nice form of structure where it feels safe, it is content and is much more willing to eat your bait because it's not in a state of shock. It's not scared, it's content, it's ready to eat. So casting by structure and behind current breaks can be a great place to find these salmon and steelhead in moving water. And then point number 5 would be the water color / the speed of the water. This can be great for finding where the drop-offs are. Oftentimes fish sit in the deepest water they can because there's more substance above them to block them from predators, therefore feeling more safe. But you can tell where the drop-offs are by the water speed and the water color. The water color, if it's all kind of light blue looking water and all of a sudden it gets like black or like a really, really deep blue, oftentimes that is because it is deeper water. And for the water speed, the same amount of water, let's make it easy. Let's say Salmon River and let's say 500 CFS. That means 500 cubic feet of water are passing through any given point of river every single second. That 500 cubic feet of water has to flow down the river. It can't just be 500 here and then be 100 down there. It's 500 continuously. Of course, there's streams and tributaries that dump into it, increasing it. But anyway, if it's a consistent 500 and that water has to continually move down the river, the places where the water would be slower is when the water is deeper. Taking the complete edges of the water out of the picture, because those are typically slower. Picture the middle. If it's really fast, really flowing water, it's probably not going to be as deep there. But if it's real slow and real wide, real nice, real deep, blue color looking, that is where it is deep water where fish have a great chance to be holding. Water moving through a spot that's 1 foot deep has to move much faster than a spot that's 5 foot deep. 5 foot deep could move at 1/5 the pace of fast moving water of that 1 foot depth and still process the same cubic feet of water per second. So if it looks slower and it's in the middle of the river, it's most likely deeper. All right guys, thank you so much for watching today's video. Hope you learned at least one thing new on where salmon and steelhead can tend to be sitting in moving water. If you guys want to catch more fish this season, we have a website called firstlightfishingco.com where you can find everything you need to be successful out in the water for salmon and steelhead. It's everything from float rods, float reels, beads, hooks, line, leader, everything you need with the fastest shipping times is available on our website, firstlightfishingco.com. If you guys want to check it out, it will be down in the video description below this video. But thank you for watching. If you have any ideas, comments, questions, drop them down below in the comment section. Be sure to subscribe so you don't miss out on any videos like this in the future. But with that being said, I'll see you guys out on the water. Thanks for watching.